Hi, and welcome to my kitchen. I'm Robin Asbell, your plant-based chef, and I'm here, as always, to show you how to make plant-based foods taste really great. I'm the author of many cookbooks, including Big Vegan, and I write a lot about food. So that sort of brings me to today's topic, which is every year we start talking about St. Patrick's Day, and we look at some great St. Patrick's Day Irish food. And for the plant-based among us, we often take a look at something potato-y, and so there's always a lot of potatoes and cheddar cheese and butter. And so one such recipe is Colcannon, which you can call Colcannon, and it's just mashed potatoes with sautéed greens, either cabbage or kale, and generally lots and lots of butter. So many times I've made versions of this where I've done sacrilegious things. I've made it with sweet potatoes, I've made it with all kinds of non-dairy milks, but I've settled on this version this year where I'm going to make one that's very, very simple, and I'm going to rely on avocado oil and garlic to put a whole bunch of flavor into my Colcannon without adding any kind of non-dairy, dairy flavors, and it's just so delicious, I can't tell you. So to start, I've got some beautiful Yukon Gold potatoes, and I'm just going to cut them in half or in quarters and put them into a nice pot of water. And they are my favorite potato for most uses. They're going to make a beautiful creamy mashed potato, and these are kind of small, which is nice. They'll cook quickly, and it's up to you how you want to do them. I've got a potato ricer. Obviously you can mash your potatoes with a potato masher, and it's all good. This is a rustic peasant dish in the truest sense of the word, that it makes a lot from a little, and that's one of the things I like about it. Of course, it's based on the idea that you are on some little farmstead in Ireland where there's this luscious grass-fed butter on your farm. So I'm going to put these on this other burner so I can get started on my other elements of the dish. So we'll bring our potatoes to a boil. Then over here I'm going to get started with, I'm going to move this in the end as well, and I'm just going to show you, I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of really good avocado oil, and I'm going to put in, I've got 6 big cloves of garlic that I'm going to cut in half, and I'm going to do basically what would be maybe a confit or a slow saute to get these guys to be as soft and buttery as roasted garlic, but without turning on the oven. So that's getting warm. I don't want it to be that hot. So I'm going to turn this also. I'm going to put this on a burner where I can keep this at a very low heat. And now on this burner, I'm going to put the rest of the avocado oil. And I'm going to add 4 cups of chopped kale. That's about half a bunch, and it's chopped up pretty finely. And I'm going to add a big fat onion. So I'm going to put in the onion first and get that going. And again, all of this is going to be based on the flavor getting really concentrated and caramelized in the garlic and the onions in a slow saute. So I'm going to, again, reduce the heat as low as I can. And I'll tell you a little bit about this beautiful avocado oil. I got this from La Tourangelle, and it's a fantastic company that makes this avocado oil in California, and it's a fantastic, flavorful oil. Now you can use your own avocado oil, or any brand that you like. Most of them are quite good. Or you can use some olive oil. Either way is good. And I will just keep stirring this, and we will be back in a second. Welcome back, and look at all this gloriousness. So here are my lovely hot potatoes, and I've got my beautiful onions. As you can see, they have shrunk a bit and gotten a little bit golden. So now I'm going to add the kale, and I'm going to raise the heat a little bit just to get it wilted. And then we're going to just slow saute that as well for a few minutes. So we might as well settle in with the beautiful emerald kale chopped up and ready. So once it starts to sizzle a bit and shrink a little, I will turn it down to low. It's all about your sort of your heat dynamics. If you can get things started at the beginning with a little bit more heat, and then gradually lower it so that they can have some time to sweeten up and become delicious. Or more delicious, I should say. So a lot of what's happening here is we're caramelizing the onions, or we almost did, in the time it took to cook the potatoes and the garlic. And now we're going to turn this guy down and just let that sit and sweeten. And I'm going to do my potatoes. Now this is a potato ricer. It's got a little hole. It's got a little compartment that you put your hot potatoes in. You can see I'm just grabbing them with a paring knife. And I let the skins on. I believe that that leaves more nutrients in the final product, even though the skins stay behind. And then I just scrape them right off back into the colander. So it's up to you if you want to add them, but that way I'm pretty sure that way the vitamin C that is in the potatoes goes into the flesh of the potato, and you don't have to peel them. And this makes a wonderful, creamy, fine textured mashed potato. So it's a great device. So I will keep stirring. Oh, it's getting a little brown down there. Definitely want to lower that to just barely on, so we can ignore it. And I'll just keep mashing the potatoes. one bit of advice with the potato ricer is definitely make sure your potatoes are nice and soft when you go in there, because otherwise you will be working those forearms to try and get it to close. You'll be testing your grip strength. So in go the potatoes. Mashy, mashy. So delicious. I love a good mashed potato, and these have so much flavor. And I will just get rid of this. Is this garlic. Now you may remember I put this beautiful garlic on the stove on low heat, and I'm just going to mash it. I'll move this, and I'm just going to take a fork and coarsely mash this soft garlic to a pulp. You might say, how Irish is that? Well, again, this is standing in for the flavor of butter. And it's just going to add so much flavor to these potatoes and this kale. Again, this is a pretty coarse mash. I don't need for it to be a puree. It's rustic. And this saute over here could use a little bit of oil. So I'm going to go ahead and put the oil and the garlic in with the kale. And we'll just keep sauteing this for a little bit longer. So I've got some salt. I'll go ahead and put that in the potatoes, and some freshly ground black pepper. And I will just keep stirring. So I want this kale to be really soft. So I've got some salt. I'll go ahead and put that in the potatoes, and some freshly ground black pepper. And I'll just keep stirring. So I want this kale to be really soft. So I'm going to put them in with my riced potatoes with all that buttery roasted garlic avocado oil flavor. And I've got a lovely spoon I can use to serve them. So this is a nice big batch of these potatoes, and what I love about it too is that as I stir this up, all that green is going to tint the potatoes a little bit green, especially if you have leftovers. And at this point, you get to decide if you want to add a little more oil, a little more salt, a little more pepper. And I will just give a little nibble. Now I always want a little more salt, a little more pepper. I'm going to put in just a drizzle more of this delicious avocado oil, and I've got some of these green onions just for a little fresh sprinkle, and I'm mixing it all up. So this is not your typical mashed potatoes with all the melted milk and butter, but I think it's just absolutely delicious and just really lets the potato flavor and the kale flavor shine in a way that really knocks your socks off. So here we have our beautiful Colcannon, and I've just got a little plate here with some the sweet, earthy, roasted garlic, caramelized onions really make this into a tasty, tasty dish. But we're letting the flavor of the potatoes and this caramelized, almost soft, sweet kale come to the foreground. I hope you'll come on over and check out robinasbell.com and look for some classes there, because I am teaching live. And I definitely think you need to try this dish. This one is a keeper. You can make it all year long. It's peasant food, which means it's cheap. It's also plant-based and full of flavor, because when you come to my house, it's all about the flavor, baby. See you next time. And here's to you.